But you see, as human beings, we are much smarter than dogs. We can choose our response. We have a head. We have the ability to think. We have heart. We have the ability to feel. And we have hand, the ability to do, to make a difference to our environment. And with hand, I would include voice, because when we can speak, we impact and influence those around us. So everybody say head. Oh, you really need to warm up a little bit this morning. Okay. You haven't had your Red Bulls this morning, have you? Right? Ready? Head. Heart. Hand. Much better. Okay. So when we have head, we have, as a leader, the ability to think. What do I think about this? See, stimulus response is primary. Something happens, we react. But when we say, what do I think about that, we reach choice point. What do I think about this? Because human beings are meaning-making machines. What does this mean? Is this an opportunity? Is this a challenge? We can reframe things as opportunities when other people see them as challenges. But human beings are not thinking machines that feel. Human beings are feeling machines that occasionally think. We have a lot of emotion. And so we need to know, what do we feel about this? Great leaders connect not just the head, but they connect the heart. We say we need to have their hearts and minds. And so we can challenge our feelings, and we can begin to manage our emotions. Initially, we might be angry and frustrated, and we can ask, is this a useful emotion? How do I challenge this emotion? Because a motivation is emotion. And then, of course, the really key question that leaders ask themselves is, what do I do about this? Because as leaders, we have what in psychology is called self-efficacy. It's the belief in our ability to make a difference. We are not a pawn. We, in fact, are the people that move the pieces on the chessboard. So we need to take responsibility, not be reactive. My research and my work with clients is to look at culture, because culture does impact the way people think, feel, and behave. And we all struggle with culture in shared services and other organizations, or parts of organizations, in terms of, well, what is the culture in this country or in this team? Because the culture is the shared shoulds. How should we behave? And because I wrote a book that I hope will, in fact, already has been actually accepted on one MBA program, we had to have a 2x2 model, right? So if you've ever done an MBA, you've got to have a 2x2 model, right? So this is my 2x2 model that some poor MBA student's going to have to learn at some point. And you'll see on the horizontal axis, autonomy, the ability to make your own decision, or responsibility, the self-leadership piece. And on the vertical axis, the leadership or organization style, from directive at the bottom to very empowering at the top. Now, there are times when you need to have command control, directive with low autonomy. In a military situation, you want soldiers to follow orders without question. One of my clients is the Changi Airport Emergency Services. Right? When these guys have a fire on the runway, they don't want to be sitting around having a focus group. Neither when you are flying on a plane coming into Changi, and, if the oxygen masks do actually drop from the ceiling, you do not want the captain to come out and say, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little bit of a problem, really like to get your input, right? At those points, you want command control, but you don't want it all the time. You want people to have a brain, to take action, all right? To be responsible. And so what you have to do is that you have to be less directive and more empowering. The problem that Western-based organizations faced when they first came to Asia is that if you release the directiveness, and people have had years of not utilizing their autonomy, they've learned to be helpless, they just defer all decisions to the boss. If you become empowering, then in fact you move up into the top left quadrant and you get low performance. And then the pendulum swings back to, well, they didn't take action, they didn't take responsibility, I'm going to have to micromanage again. If you continue to micromanage and people develop autonomy, then you get disengagement, resentment, and resignation. Or in North Africa, you get revolution, when dictators did not understand that they needed to allow their population. So, of course, in all 2x2 models, where do we want to get to? We want to get to the top right-hand corner, self-leadership. And there is a correlation between self-leadership and creativity, and therefore innovation, and in terms of self-motivation, so that you don't have to keep motivating your people. So how do we get to this top quadrant? We need to help people take ownership of their thoughts, their feelings, their speech, and their behavior.